Some heaters can protect yourself from ice, if you catch my drift, and by my drift I mean that warm ventilation systems can protect you from the cold weather. Side note, I know that I fell for fake news and thought that trees were exploding from being frozen in my last video. I'm a silly little goose who sometimes falls for AI slop, and I amend it. You can stop commenting that it's AI in my video now. Thank you. But on a completely separate note, let's talk about the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms. I'm not gonna act like the US doesn't have a mass shooting problem. It absolutely does, and it is grotesque. But at this point, you have to protect yourself, especially if you are trans, black, Latino, Hispanic, etc. Sometimes you gotta make a deal with the devil. Smoke him if you got him. Obviously, train yourself. You're gonna be putting yourself in a lot more danger if you don't train yourself and, you know, do that and invest in that. But I'm of the mind that weapons can be used collectively as a tool within communities by community members who are trained enough to use them safely. Obviously, you shouldn't keep a firearm in a home with a child unless you have some Area 51 levels of security on that safe. But using a blicky just in case things get sticky is, well, your right as an American. Hey, there it is. I found some common ground with conservatives. Hello, computer. Do conservatives still think that Americans should be allowed to own firearms? Ah, fuck. All right, Alex Preddy. A couple days ago, he got executed by Border Patrol. It is fucking disgusting. It is inexcusable by all means, and Donald Trump's government is getting a little antsy. They want to spin this, but how do they do that? Well, he had a gun, but you didn't have a gun when you got executed. It got removed from Preddy's person before Fed mag dumped into him, but still, Republicans are saying the time for gun control is now. Don't take my word for it.
Do you agree with the assessment from some of your own officials that Alex Preddy is a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
Well, I haven't heard that, but certainly he shouldn't have been carrying a gun. But hey, look, bottom line, everybody in this room, we view that as a very unfortunate incident. Okay? Everyone, unless you're a stupid person, very, very unfortunate incident. I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
What do you think of
Gun control? What a fucking liberal. It was not so long ago that the average Republican politician would rather pull down their pants and push out a log on national television than say something like this with a straight face. This motherfucker wants to tread on me so bad. So the right-wing folks who are smart enough to conceptualize the future and to have the ability to put themselves in Alex's shoes, they can visualize themselves in a situation where things go wrong in a similar way, where they are carrying a firearm legally in the wrong place in the wrong time, or under any circumstance that could get spun to fit the state's narrative, such as Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller doing this. They say that Preddy was going to be a mass shooter, which I guess they suddenly fucking care about. And of course they say this without any shred of evidence that Preddy had any sort of intention of using the firearm. Alex was exercising his right as an American, and the government, which could be perhaps described as tyrannical, executed him on the spot for that reason. I don't know which footage y'all have seen, but Alex didn't fire at the agents or protesters of any kind. Hey, I have an idea. Let's get Kyle Rittenhouse's opinion on this. Such a fine and sound intellectual mind. I bet that he would have something very interesting to say. And yes, he's back, baby. He said so himself. Rittenhouse was sitting on the sidelines, staying silent, and then Erica Kirk's husband got shot. I completely forgot his name. I'm so sorry to this man. And then Kyle came back, and the crowd goes home. Kyle Rittenhouse is improficient with the sauce. The less he opens his mouth and shows his face, the more popular he is. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's see one of his banger tweets since coming back. Thinking of taking this to Minneapolis. Thoughts? As a Democratic politician would tweet, is it legal to do that? I'm genuinely curious. Okay, so I need to say this. That part of the carpet looks like a dick and balls, by the way. Kind of outline. I mean, this part of it is missing, but it still looks like this. Anyways, guys, I know that this sounds crazy. I'm gonna need you to hear me out on this, but I'm beginning to think that Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't actually defending himself and instead went to a protest with the intention of murdering people and then got away with murder as part of a political stunt. I know it's hard to believe. You know what you should have been doing while on hiatus? Hitting the fucking weights. He's just like one of those adults who look like a little German boy with the bright red cheeks. Give him a lollipop and a propeller hat right now. I'm telling you right now, if I were one of the chuds, I wouldn't listen to a goddamn word this kid has to say. All right, let's see what he has to say about Alex Preddy. The same people wanting to silence me are now begging me to comment. My comment: communists are gay and anti-Second Amendment people are gay. Biden's failed open borders policy created this entire mess. Hashtag shall not be infringed. This is what happens when you let a spiritual toddler whose only claim to fame is murdering people cook. What a fucking dumb statement. Like, I don't know if this is just an ineffectual milquetoast response that is a reaction of an allergy to nuance, or if he is genuinely saying that Alex deserved to die because he's a communist, and the fact that it's being excused by the state because he had a legally owned concealed weapon is irrelevant. Like, good God, is this kid for real? All right, so we know that Trump is pro-gun control. We know that this little German boy is, I don't fucking know, just too dumb to have an actual opinion. How about Kash Patel?
As Christie said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple.
Yes you can, but continue.
You don't have that right to break the law.
Not against the law, but continue.
And incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios.
Holy liberal, gun control, blue hair, pronouns in the bio, septum ring. I think this entire situation is entering biting off more than they can chew territory. This is the very definition of being stuck in between a rock and a hard place, because think if you are someone like Kash Patel, you can't push against ICE, so you have to say guns are the problem, which is what is happening here. The narrative being used here isn't a bad guy with a gun went to a protest, it is the government says that you are not allowed to have a gun under these circumstances. And that's playing with fire. But to be honest with you, if the MAGA base wasn't completely spineless, I'd think that this bodes very poorly for them, and maybe it will long term if they continue with it, but I have personally seen quite a lot of right-wingers repeat this exact rhetoric without realizing how glaring of a contradiction it is. But for real, in this photo, the balls are here, like, clearly, and then this is the shaft, and sure, it doesn't have a whole lot of girth to it. So here's where Democrats are at right now. They are frozen in time. They have no idea how to pick up on the political movement. They want to keep ICE around. They don't want to learn any lessons from the results of the 2024 election or the NYC mayoral election. They can't stand against the establishment because they are fundamentally a pro-establishment party, and yet the establishment is being rapidly weaponized and turned against them. They are inequipped for this situation. It is a complete and utter standstill. They are glitching the fuck out right now. But I guess both parties in the two-party system are dealing with their own paradoxes and inner rumblings. As I said in my last video, the NRA made a statement against this rhetoric, and in addition, many others who you might expect. I seriously need to know, am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking this looks valid? I have a Patreon, I got some goodies over there, some beautiful supporters. Hey, show me my patrons, and I will see y'all another time. Peace out.